everybody, and welcome to another episode of Megan and Todd Talk D&D. In this episode, we will be talking about environmental damage. If you haven't already, check out part 1 of this, where we talk about control spells using Dwarven Forge, which is sponsoring this video as well.
Yeah, so we are discussing some of our favorite ways to push people around the battlefield. Now, we did talk about control spells in terms of like kind of shutting down an area or making it more difficult to get past. A lot of fun. And evil can be had. And I've certainly had a lot of this evil. Is, for example, take a look at some of these minis we have out. We've got lava, we've got pools of acid, and we've got a tower. Eldritch Blast is one of the nastiest cantrips and overall spells in the game. Because you can add invocations that will allow you to push someone 10 feet or pull them 10 feet. This becomes fun when you are attacking someone on, say, a tower. And say there's an archer on this tower looking down at us. Well, you hit them with Eldritch Blast, you pull them 10 feet towards you, and now they're taking falling damage, and it's instant kill. Just gone.
Super powerful as a cantrip.
Super powerful as a cantrip.
That's awesome.
If you're on a stone bridge over a giant chasm, just, again, pull them 10 feet, knock them off that bridge, or push them off the bridge, push them into acid, push them into lava. You do massive amounts of fire damage. And there is rules for improvising damage, and there's a lot of really cool ones that, and it should be noted that Eldritch Blast does not have a save when it's being used with one of these invocations that allows you to, Grasp of Hadar, which allows you to pull 10 feet towards you. There's no save. It just moves them 10 feet.
Wow.
Yeah. Very, very powerful stuff. And to get the full idea, if you're looking at an environment, it's about 1d10 points of damage if someone is on burning coals. Now, if that person suddenly stumbles into, say, a fire pit, well, if you shoved them 10 feet into a fireplace or a fire pit, that's 2d10 points of fire damage.
And that's why I love terrain like this, because I love theater of the mind, but this is a great visual aid to understand how to utilize your environment a little bit better.
Yeah, and the benefits keep coming with this, right? We're looking at, what if you pull or shove someone into a vat of acid? We have damage for this as well. It's 4d10 points of acid damage. Things get a little bit nuttier as we go on. What if there is a stream of lava? Which conveniently we have a stream of lava down here. Well, if you shove someone into a lava stream, you are doing 10d10 points of fire damage. So environmental kills are
I need to write this down.
Yeah, extremely important. Say this entire tower, now this isn't a spell, maybe you cast Wish, I don't know, or there's an earthquake, but
never cast Wish.
Yeah, if you
don't do it.
If a tower fell on you for improvising damage, that's 18d10 points of damage being crushed by a fortress, which I just love knowing this. And then on top of all of this, you mentioned Whirlwind in the previous video. And if I really wanted to just yes and your extreme points of fire damage, we are looking at 24d10 points of damage if you tumble into a vortex of fire on the elemental plane of fire, or you are crushed by the jaws of a godlike creature. So
we have a few options.
We have options when it comes to using your environment, and that's why I like to have a lake of lava, maybe, to make a combat scenario more interesting, or vats of acid, or stalactites and stalagmites. Using your environment. If you cast reverse gravity, again, you're forcing someone to move. They go straight up and there's nothing but spikes above them. I would have them impaled. As a DM, I would absolutely allow my players an opportunity to improvise damage by turning the tables.
That is a very cool use of your environment.
Thunderwave is another good one. If I was on top of a castle and I'm fighting off a bunch of bad guys, Thunder Wave, knocking everybody back several feet away from me every time, just tossing them off the wall. Now there is a save. It's not like Eldritch Blast. Eldritch Blast does have to hit, and that's kind of why there's no save. But Thunder Wave is pretty nasty. It's a good control spell. It's a good way to push people. Telekinesis is great, obviously, as well. And again, Whirlwind, just pure awful.
Whirlwind and Cloud Kill.
Cloud Kill is really nasty.
Love to try those.
Yeah, it doesn't move anybody.
Right.
Yeah. Gust of Wind, though, which I would use against Cloud Kill, becomes really nasty, too, in these very scary, I'm on the cliff face, I'm trying to stay on top of a tower. You cast Gust of Wind and you push people off.
Or if you're fighting on a bridge.
Yeah, you're doing tons of damage. So it allows the players and the DM to really think about tactics.
Yeah.
And that's why minis can be so effective.
What are some of your favorite environmental kills that you've ever had in past games?
Ones they shouldn't have been allowed to get away with. So I've had environmental kills where I have shrunk an object and put it and sleight of handed it onto someone, and then I let it get big again.
Oh,
or I polymorphed like a giant creature to be the size of a bunny or size of like a tiny little doll, and put that on somebody, and then I broke concentration and they basically exploded. You witnessed this. I exploded an elf because they got in our way. Riding on the back of a dragon. Falling damage is so like you're not going to make it. Like that these are the things to consider. Your environment, how dangerous and precarious it is. If you're on a dragon, wear a seatbelt. Keep that in mind.
Safety first.
I have, in Eberron, killed so many enemies because they were way high up on a tower, or they were on some kind of flying skiff. It's always kind of fun. It's very satisfying, and it's instant. So it can really speed up the action by using environmental kills as well.
Those are really good things to consider, because I often forget about that. I'm not thinking about the environment. I'm thinking about, okay, it's me versus this god or this enemy. So I'm like trying to figure out what spells do the most damage, not thinking I could just end all this and just push them off.
And that's why I like improvising, the damage an environment can do. And certainly that can get abused. But I think for the most part, players are kind of stuck in there like, this is what my sword does, this is what my spells do. Remind your players that the environment is very much just as much a character, I think, as their characters and the villains and NPCs.
Thank you so much, Jordan Forge, for sponsoring this video. The terrain is beautiful. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you have any favorite environmental kills you would like to share with us, please post those below in the comments, and we will see you next time.